It is picked off. It is intercepted. Going back the other way. It is Tre'Davious White. Hands it off to Shady. He's in the clear. He's going to score. McCoy into the end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown, Buffalo!
Good morning, Bills fans. Welcome to Monday Morning Breakdown. I'm John Murphy along with Bills Insider Chris Brown. We do this every Monday at 10 a.m. We talk about the Bills game from the day before with you on Facebook, on Twitter, and on YouTube. And, of course, we'll take your thoughts on the game as well. The Bills coming off a very disheartening 22-0 loss to the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay. Just 145 total yards of offense, Chris. They had a minimal chance to score. They were not able to get in the end zone, not able even to get a field goal. First shutout for the Buffalo Bills in 10 years, and it was really tough. It was tough to watch them struggle that badly.
Yeah, they didn't even get into the red zone, Murph. Their only shot at points was late in the first half, and Josh made an ill-advised throw there, as we'll see in a little bit here. But really, I got to tip my hat to Green Bay defensive coordinator Mike Pettin. I think he had the protection schemes of the Bills completely crossed up. We see a jailbreak right there. That was just one of many examples, and this is the ill-advised throw at the end of the half, which essentially took the only shot at points off the board for the Bills. And, Josh, to his credit, Murph, put a lot of it on himself. That's what quarterbacks are supposed to do, but holy cow, he was not alone. I mean, that offensive line, those receivers, nothing was happening out there. Nobody was stepping up to make a play. And Josh put this one on himself too, Murph. He did hang Kelvin out to dry on that pick by Clinton-Dix. He was, for the first time, Murph, that I've seen him on the field, he was rattled. He looked rattled yesterday for the first time.
7 sacks. The Bills allowed 7 sacks. So Josh Allen took a physical beating as well. There was a physical toll to be paid, and he also got hit a lot, even when he didn't get sacked. But I think you're right about Pettin. I thought going into the game that Pettin was going to sort of unleash his famous organized chaos theory of defense, and they did. If you look at it, the sacks and the pressures, not really similar looks from each play. He just threw a lot of different stuff at Josh Allen, and there weren't really incredible blitzes either. It wasn't like they were sending 5 or 6 guys very often. More than that, it was just a different look that Allen, the rookie quarterback, had never seen. I'm sure he was getting different looks on the back end of the defense as well. Didn't see much downfield. It wasn't all on Josh. Didn't get a lot of help from the wide receiving core. Did not get a lot of help from the offensive line. So it wasn't all on him, but it was very difficult to watch. Difficult to watch Josh struggle that badly.
And I think, playing off of that there was no run game to speak of either, right. And I think that just allowed the Green Bay defense to tee off, especially once they got up on the scoreboard.
Well, that gets us into 4-down territory as we look at 4 big issues from yesterday's game, yesterday's loss, and we start with the run game. The Bills' inability to get the running game going. 58 rushing yards, the fewest in a game under Sean McDermott in 16 regular season games, and that really had been the bedrock of what they had done on the ground or on offense for the last couple of years. It just didn't happen. You got to put most of the blame here, I would think, Chris, on the offensive line. It looked like Chris Ivory and Shady McCoy made the most of what they had, but they didn't have a lot. They did not have a lot of holes open up in front of them, and that really, if that doesn't work, then you're really taking a big part of what they should use to help out Josh Allen away from him. He was kind of out there all alone when the Bills couldn't run the football yesterday.
Coach McDermott pointed to it right after the game. I'm sitting there in the post-game press conference, and he said we have to win at the line of scrimmage, and we're not winning those battles right now. Murph, this is 3 out of 4 games where the offensive line has not won the battle at the line of scrimmage. If you don't win the battle at the line of scrimmage, your offense can't really go anywhere. It's literally stuck in neutral, if not going in reverse, and that was the case yesterday.
It was tough. Now, the second down in our 4-down territory, the passing game. Very, very rough day for the passing game. Incompletions. Josh Allen was, I think, as inaccurate as he had been in a Bills uniform so far, but there didn't appear to be a whole lot of separation from the wide receivers. There were drops, and those have been a couple of issues all season long for the Buffalo Bills. Bills wide receivers combining for just 7 catches in the game. Kelvin Benjamin got hurt, and you talked about the play that Josh kind of led him into a hit. He had to leave the game with a knock to the head. He was able to return. It remains to be seen if there's any lasting impact on that. But it was a rare day, at least in his NFL career, for Josh Allen throwing as many incompletions and being as inaccurate as he was. Again, I think the function of the pressure and the different looks he was seeing from Mike Pettin.
Yeah, and just watching him throw these passes that we're watching on video right now, most of the time his feet aren't even set. And when his feet aren't set, that's when you run into problems. Ball sailing. He threw a couple in the dirt too, but there were overthrows. I'm not saying receivers were wide open, but there were instances where the ball just wasn't where it was supposed to be. His ball location suffered yesterday. And what that does is not only does it prevent you from making plays, but it also hurts you from stringing positive plays together, number one. And then number two, letting Josh Allen get into a rhythm, which is something he was able to do last week. They got him into an early rhythm with high percentage passes, and that helped the offense going forward. He never got into a rhythm yesterday.
We continue on in 4-down territory, and maybe a bright side of the game yesterday, the contributions from some rookies on defense. They stepped up. Taron Johnson, who had been in and out of the lineup with an injury and played last week, played really well yesterday. 6 tackles, a sack, and a forced fumble. The Bills rookie, I thought, played a pretty good game, Chris, coming from the nickel cornerback spot to make some plays both in the run game and the pass game.
He was fantastic in run support, and then we see Tremaine Edmonds there getting a tip on a tip drill, and Jordan Poyer getting the interception, which broke Aaron Rodgers' consecutive pass attempt streak at 150 without a pick. So, he did a good job there. And, you look at it at the end of the day, the defense gets 2 takeaways because Taron Johnson also had the sack. Saran Neal, who comes in when Taron Johnson has to go out of the game. Raphael Bush has to leave his safety spot to go play nickel. Saran Neal comes on the field to play safety, and he gets a sack there. And we saw Tremaine Edmonds with a quarterback hit. So encouraging signs from some of the young players on defense. So hopefully that continues. Those guys continue to grow. The only thing that I lament a little bit is Trey White had 2 shots at an interception.
Right.
And Ryan Lewis, who again, I think played well yesterday, even though he was targeted a ton, he had a pick in his hands that could have been taken back for an interception return for a touchdown, and he drops the ball too. So hopefully those plays are completed.
If you go into a game against Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers and force 2 takeaways and only give up 22 points, typically you
should be in the game at the very least.
Winning that game, right? 50-50 shot. They weren't even close because of the inability of the offense. I thought the defense was okay again yesterday, especially in the second half.
Yeah, and I know Aaron Rodgers after the game said our defense was Super Bowl caliber. Our offense was not even playoff caliber.
Yeah.
That was Aaron Rodgers' assessment of their own offense.
Yeah.
And he threw for just under 300 yards, but I don't think he wasn't pleased at all.
Right.
I think he felt they got crossed up at times and their execution wasn't sound, and I think you have to credit the Bills' defense in part for that.
All right, we get to 4th down in 4-down territory, and it's a look ahead. We knew this was the struggle of the schedule, these first 4 games, right? The first 4 games were the toughest. Coming up, maybe not so much. The first 4 Bills opponents, I looked it up, Chris, a .574 win percentage. Pretty good teams they've gone against, and 3 of those 4 on the road. The remaining 12, a .500 win percentage, and 7 of the final 12 are at home. So you could argue, I think plausibly argue, that the roughest part of the Buffalo schedule may be behind it.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the quarterbacks they were facing, yes, I would tend to agree with that, but you're facing a hot Tennessee Titans team this week. I think a lot of people look at the schedule at the beginning of the season and say, oh, Tennessee at home, that's a winnable game. They've won 3 in a row.
Right.
And they just beat the defending Super Bowl champs in overtime.
But it's week to week, right?
I know it's week to week.
The Bills went to Minnesota and won that game. Everybody thought the Bills were special.
Right, but the Tennessee team, I think, is an underrated club. Yes, they're under a first-year head coach, and sometimes it takes them to find some traction and get their season off and running. They may have done that in the last couple of weeks. Houston Texans came out of the gate slow. They looked good yesterday in an overtime win over the Colts as Deshaun Watson started to put up points, put up yards, and looked like the quarterback that everybody was so excited about last year. So it's all the league is also a lot about timing in terms of your schedule too. And I think the Bills, looking at this Titans matchup, are saying, we're facing a pretty hot club coming in here this weekend.
I understand that, and there's no guarantees. I would say, though, if you play 3 of your first 4 on the road, as the Bills have done, and go up against the quarterbacks that they've played in the last couple of weeks, I do believe the toughest part of the schedule is behind them now.
Yeah, I mean, Cousins, Rodgers, Rivers. I mean, you don't really need to say anything more after that.
All right, let's get into some of your thoughts on it. We got some crowd noise coming back at us from the various social media platforms, Facebook and Twitter. We'd love to hear from you and see what you have to say. On Twitter from J.R. Morrow, sign or trade for some wide receiver help. What do you think?
They need some wide receiver help.
They do need help.
I don't think there's any question about that. And, you think about this, and really, as much as people want to fret or be concerned about how Josh Allen looks, the bottom line is there are several instances where there is no separation downfield. There's nowhere for Josh Allen to go with the football. So what do you do there? Here's the thing that bothers me the most. You have a player in Kelvin Benjamin who's got this wide catch radius. That's his calling card. You don't have to be completely on the money. He should be able to go and make a play for you. He's targeted 6 times yesterday. He comes up with 1 reception. And not all of those are on him. The one where he got laid out by the safety, it's hard for him to catch that ball when he gets hung out to dry. I give him a pass on that one. But there have been instances here over the first few weeks where I think you're just expecting more from him in terms of fighting for the football, making a play for your quarterback to give him the confidence to give you another opportunity to do that. Zay Jones, has been on the field an awful lot.
He had 7 targets, 4 catches, but it all came in garbage time.
At the end of the game, and that's not the first time that's happened. So you got to make more plays when the game is still a game, not when the game has pretty much just been decided. So these guys need a charge put into them to do more. And I'll tell you right now, I'm making LaShawn McCoy a wide receiver for all intents and purposes. Split him out wide a whole lot more because that guy might be the best player you have in terms of getting separation. And I think Jason Kroom is a better option in terms of the mismatches that he's going to draw from opposing safeties and linebackers. Put wide receivers on the field for corners to cover them and then get Kroom working, somewhere in the middle of the field because he's shown that he can get open and get separation as well.
Yeah, I don't know about sign or trade for a wide receiver, and I want to talk a little bit later on in our program here today about some of the rookies on the
get them on the field.
Wide receiver, maybe get them playing. But
they're part of your future, so play them.
Yeah, let's get to number 2 in crowd noise. A question about LaShawn McCoy from Facebook from Gary Pazinski. With McCoy back, why did you only rush him 5 times? Why did you, Chris?
Well, if it was me, I probably would have given him a few more cracks, a few more bites at the apple. So, and I understand when the game gets out of whack, you've got to throw the ball, but that doesn't mean that LaShawn McCoy shouldn't be touching the ball. Throw it to him.
Throw it to him. Yeah.
Get him out in space. I mean, that's what LaShawn McCoy was talking about this whole time at the beginning of the season. I'm going to have opportunities in space. We haven't even seen that. And, did his cracked rib cartilage maybe play a role in how much time he was actually on the field? Perhaps. Coach McDermott was asked that. He said, no, it wasn't an issue.
He denied
but the bottom line is this. Whether games are out of whack or not, LaShawn McCoy this season is averaging 11 touches a game. That's not enough. That's not enough. He is your best weapon on offense. He has to touch the ball more, plain and simple.
I talked to him in the locker room briefly yesterday. He was clearly disappointed with the amount of work he got, clearly disappointed with the outcome of the game, and that's something to keep an eye on. He does need to get the ball more, whether it's through the run or in the air.
And when I said 11 touches, that's catches and receptions through the first 4 games this year. 11 touches combined per game is the average right now. It's got to get up. It's got to be double that. It's got to be around 20.
Yep. Let's go to Facebook for our next little bit of crowd noise today as we see what fans are talking about. Craig Neves says, we need to sign or trade for some real offensive line help. Again, kind of like receivers, Chris, if you think that somebody's going to, first of all, trade away a decent offensive lineman, even a decent developmental prospect at offensive line, you're mistaken. Nobody is going to really do that, I don't think. And there's nobody on the street who can help.
It's slim pickings now.
So basically, you look at your own roster. Who do you have on your practice squad? Who do you have that's not playing? And maybe that's what you start to do. And I wouldn't have a wholesale lineup change yet, but maybe down the road a little bit, a month or 2 away.
Right, and, it's not like the Bills aren't looking. I mean, last week they picked up Jeremiah Searles, who, they found and were able to acquire. They're going to work with him for a few weeks, see where it goes. But really, there aren't a ton of viable answers that you can turn to and say, we're going to be dramatically better. It's a line of scrimmage battle, and as I said, it's been a rough go for this offensive line to reset the line of scrimmage 2 yards down the field in the run game or to hold up in pass protection. And again, it's not all offensive line. There's some blitz pickup issues with running backs that have cropped up here and there through the course of the first 4 games. And you've got receivers who are not winning their one-on-ones. And Coach McDermott was talking about that after the game. Guys have to win their one-on-ones wherever they are on the field, and he said flat out, we are just not winning enough of those right now.
And he didn't say any positions either. He was talking. I thought
he
was
said
talking
everywhere.
About receivers, offensive line,
he said
winning their one-on-one battles.
On offense, not winning one-on-ones. Whoever it is, whatever position it is.
4 games in, a quarter of the season complete for the Bills and the rest of the NFL, and we begin to get a look at what the league's going to look like. And let's take a look at some of the highlights from yesterday. Our 2-minute offense, a look around the NFL, and we start with the big AFC East matchup in Foxborough. The Patriots looked like the Patriots yesterday, right? Tom Brady was throwing downfield. The Patriots with a 17-0 lead in the second quarter go up 24-0, then go up 31-0. They got Josh Gordon in the lineup. They get Julian Edelman back. The Patriots cruise yesterday over the Dolphins, 38-7.
The Jaguars had no problem with the Jets, even though they lost Leonard Fournette to a hamstring injury early in this game. Blake Bortles finds T.J. Yeldon for a touchdown, then down the right sideline to Dante Moncrief for another score. The Jags win going away 31-12.
You'd have to be impressed with the Chicago Bears start to the season. Chicago yesterday at home against Tampa Bay. Mitchell Trubisky was sensational. 6 touchdown passes, 1 short of the NFL record, a long-time NFL record. He could not be stopped, and the Bears just kept on putting up points. They won at 48-10. The Bucks had Fitz to start the game, and then they replaced him in the second half with Jameis Winston. He started the second half for Tampa Bay. He didn't do much better as Winston throws a pick right here. The Bears win it. They're 3-1 and looking very good in that NFC North division.
Two teams that the Bills will see over the next couple of weeks, the Texans and the Colts in an AFC South matchup. The Colts are able to tie it on a 2-point conversion at the end of regulation. Both teams trade field goals in overtime. Colts go for it on 4th and 4 in their own end in OT. They don't get it, and the winning field goal is ultimately kicked by the Houston Texans for the victory.
One of the great games of the day, it was Cincinnati at Atlanta. Cincinnati goes in 2-1, and Atlanta came to play. Matt Ryan was great, and Andy Dalton was even better. Dalton, in the final seconds, throws a touchdown pass to A.J. Green, and the Bengals win it. They go to 3-1. 3
of the 4 teams in the AFC South go to overtime. We already saw the Texans and Colts. The Titans in a battle with the Eagles in OT, as Marcus Mariota is leading this team on the drive, the comeback hit, as they're calling him in Tennessee. They get a key pass interference call to keep the drive alive, and then Marcus Mariota matriculating the ball down the field here. They get it into the red zone, and with 15 seconds left, Mariota throws a jump ball to Corey Davis for the game-winning touchdown. The Titans have now won 3 straight. They are 3-1 on the season, and they are rolling. And you want to talk about an offensive line that's talented? Look at that Titans group up front. They have a good offensive line. 2 former first-round picks at each tackle position.
Think they want to trade anybody away?
No.
Let's take a look ahead, and we'll start with the Titans. A three-game win streak for the Tennessee Titans coming to Buffalo. Look, and I told you this earlier, it's a week-to-week league, and I know Tennessee's playing well. It'll be a tough test for Buffalo, but I think this still remains a winnable game, especially with the Bills back home this week.
Yeah, and you hope that things can change to some degree on the offensive side of the ball. I think they really have to commit to that run game, take some of the pressure off Josh Allen. If they can't run the football, it all falls on Josh's shoulders again, and that's a lot to ask of a rookie. And look, I know fans are up in arms about everything with where offense is for the Bills right now because they're ranked at the bottom of the league in a lot of categories. Take a look at Arizona right now. They're 32nd ranked offense in the league. They've got a rookie quarterback. They're having trouble with a run game, ranked 31st in the league. You look at the Jets with Sam Darnold at quarterback, 29th in total offense, 25th rushing game. They're struggling on offense. The Cleveland Browns are struggling a little bit less with Baker Mayfield in the lineup, but it's because they have a running game. They have the 2nd-ranked rushing offense in football. It helps your rookie quarterback. You got to get that run game going.
And this is what you get with a rookie quarterback, I think. This is what the Bills know they were signing up for, right? When they brought Josh and plugged
Maybe
Josh
not to
Allen
the degree we saw yesterday.
No, but you get ups and downs,
Yeah.
I think. And Josh Allen had a very difficult day yesterday. They should stay with him. They will stay with him and let him get better. Face another defensive coordinator this week. That'll be part of the lineup this week as far as a look ahead, how Josh Allen responds to his worst start so far. Also, the Bills got to wonder about Micah Hyde, really on the back end of their defense, who left the game with, a groin injury. Yesterday.
Yeah, it was terrible to see that happen because, everybody was making so much of his homecoming to Green Bay. You even saw Aaron Rodgers pat him on the helmet when he was limping off the field there. There's a lot of respect in Green Bay for Micah Hyde's game, and I think a lot of fans were excited to see him playing, even though he was playing for the opponent. So to see him exit the game so early and leave them a little shorthanded on the back end again, which has been kind of a recurring theme here. It seems like they can't stay healthy on the back end with injuries at corner and safety. If Hyde can't get back this week, that's a loss for them because he and Poyer are so key on the back end in terms of disguising those coverages.
Tough loss yesterday, but a lot of season to come. Still 3/4 of the season left to play for the Buffalo Bills. Chris and I will talk more about this. Chris will appear with us on One Bills Live. Steve Tasker will be there as well. We go on the air at noon. Chris will join us at 1 o'clock. We got Fred Jackson coming up on the show today, and Evan Washburn of the NFL on CBS, who was on the sidelines for yesterday's game. Make sure you tune into One Bills Live 12 noon on MSG and on WGR Sports Radio 550. That'll do it for this week. Thanks for joining us. We're right back here on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube next Monday at 10 o'clock. Thanks for joining us. For Chris Brown, I'm John Murphy. We'll see you next week on our Bills Monday Morning Breakdown.